Do you believe that your children will never learn to clean up after themselves or help clean your house unless you teach them and train them how to do it? Now, if you believe that, and many, many people do, it's going to lead to quite a lot of suffering. Let me explain why. Well, if you start to teach your children how to clean and they pick up after themselves and they help with vacuuming and they do the washing up age appropriately, then this video isn't for you. You've obviously got children who are born to clean. But if you don't, you're likely to meet some resistance when you try and teach them about cleaning. And when you meet that resistance, what happens? Do you find yourself nagging your children to clean up after themselves? Do you find yourself threatening, yelling, and struggling with your children over cleaning, sometimes every single day? Now, if that is what happens in your house and you're okay to keep struggling and that you think that's just how things should be, then this isn't the video for you either. But if you're actually really sick of the struggle and you don't want to be battling and fighting with your children over cleaning every day, then there is another option. Now, the other option for me was to question this belief that children will never learn to do it naturally as a part of growing up. And I did question that belief. I thought, well, I don't actually know that it's true that they'll never learn to clean. Perhaps I should actually just test it out and see what happens. And so I did. And the other part of what I did was openly acknowledge that if things around the house were really messy and untidy and I wanted them cleaned up and nobody else wanted them cleaned up, then it was my problem. If my standards of cleanliness are higher than other people in my house, then it's my problem. And the way that I communicate about my problem is really important. So if I'm actually honest with my children and say, look, I'm really, really struggling with all this mess. I just don't feel comfortable with it. I'm getting really upset about it. Can you help me with my problem? And you make a specific request that they pick up certain things that are lying around the living room, or they take their dishes to the kitchen, or they help with a specific task around the house, then I found it was much more likely they were able to say yes and help me, because I'd been honest and I'd taken responsibility for my problem. So what happens when you trust that your children will naturally learn cleanliness as they mature? Well, what I discovered was very interesting. I discovered that when they were younger, they weren't interested in cleaning at all. And I actually happily took on most of the cleaning myself. But as they got older, somehow a switch came on and they started cleaning. And it happened at different ages for my two sons. And there were different standards of cleanliness for both of them. One really likes things clean and orderly in his bedroom and around him pretty much all the time. And he went through a period of vacuuming his bedroom multiple times a week because he was so concerned about the dust and the dirt. And my other child isn't so concerned about it and can let things go for quite a long time, maybe weeks even. And then all of a sudden he'll get the urge to clean and he'll do a really thorough job and then he'll let it go for a while. Very much like most people, there's a great variety in how much attention is given to cleaning. But I did discover that children do naturally learn to clean as they grow up. And I also discovered that there was no need for that constant stress and struggle that I experienced before. I hope you find this helpful.